Hi, this is Janey Imaani and welcome to Emotional Awareness. So let's take a look at the question that we will be answering today. I know I'm supposed to love and take care of my parents, but they have made many mistakes with me, especially during my divorce, and I'm finding it very difficult to forgive them. I feel conflicted because I do love them very much, but I'm not sure how to get over the pain and resentment. So this is a very common theme that comes up quite frequently, the anger that people feel towards their parents. So often what you see is children or adult children oscillating between blaming their parents for what they're going through and then feeling guilty for blaming their parents because they know that they were loved by them dearly. And so you see people fluctuating between the two. And so in these cases, what we do is begin by giving them permission to look at how their parents did affect them negatively, and that's what we call the parenting trap. So each one of us affects our children with what we do not understand about life and ourselves. And so we know we're not perfect and there's many things that we need to work on, but the reality is that we affect our children with the things that we struggle with personally. If you have a lot of anxiety, then you could pass that on. If there's a particular fear that you're traumatized by, then you would probably pass that on as well. And so as parents, we think we parent from our values, but sometimes we actually end up parenting from our unprocessed pain. And then we end up sort of trying to do everything that we can in order to protect our kids from feeling that particular criticism or the thing that we fear so much. And again, this is done out of love. And as parents, that's quite difficult to accept, right? Because you do love them so much and you are working so hard to give them a good life. And so it becomes quite difficult to acknowledge the ways that we have fallen short. And the same goes for our parents as well. It's quite hard for them to accept the ways in that they have fallen short with us. So one of the ways that we deal with this problem is by separating intention from impact. So generally speaking, we believe that if people didn't mean to harm us, then we're not allowed to feel hurt, right? And we're only allowed to feel hurt if they had ill intentions. So this is where it gets quite sticky and dangerous, because this is where you start seeing people assigning evil intention to others in order to justify their pain. So we assume others must have ill intention, otherwise we don't sort of allow ourselves to see the negative consequences of their shortcomings. But that's not true, because people who mean well for us can affect us negatively, and we can also look at how their shortcomings affected us by separating their intentions from the impact that it actually had on us. So in this case, it sounds like your parents didn't really handle the divorce very well, and perhaps they even made it worse by trying to help you. So if there is some resentment and anger that you feel that's kind of left after that incident, then you can still look at where that resentment came from and where that anger came from, while still believing that they were trying their best. When it comes to parenting, there comes a point in your life where you have to unlearn and undo the mistakes of our parents. And the same goes for my kids as well, right? And that seems to be the design of life itself. Like, we make mistakes with our children, and the mistakes that we make becomes a window into their growth or our growth. And that's really difficult, because once we start accepting that they probably did the best that they could, then we have to stop being angry and start grieving the fact that they weren't really who we wanted them to be, or we have to start forgiving them for not being who we needed them to be. And then we have to start sort of embracing them for who they are and their life story and what happened to them and what they came from. Because at the end of the day, they're not just our parents, right? They're people who have their own struggles and that they have to figure out, and then we get stuck in it. So this is the question. So did your parents do the best that they could? Honestly, these are existential questions that we don't really have the answers to. But the truth is that we all fall short and we all fall into this trap. But once we start believing that our parents did the best that they could, what they had, then we can start taking responsibility for ourselves without falling into the blaming trap. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And talking about taking care of your parents, I'm actually taking 2 months off while I go back to England and see my parents and spend time with the kids and stuff. So actually I will be back 2 months from now, about 6 to 7 weeks at the end of August. And until then, make sure you share, take care of yourself, like, comment, subscribe, and the rest of it. And I will see you at the end of August. Bye!